So the purposes of this video is purely because I could never find a fast HDR editing tutorial online. There's lots out there, but they're all hand blending and they're all slow. And if you actually wanted to edit your own photos in a professional environment with speed, there's no way you're going to do that. So I'll probably run through a few different examples. Generally, what I do is I start in Lightroom. We've got a 5-shot bracket, but this works just as well with 3 shots. What we're going to do is select all of these, right click, get a photo merge, and just hold shift before you click HDR. That way you don't have to worry about going through the menu. It will just do whatever. Alright, so we've got our HDR image here. Generally speaking, I would put some sort of a preset on. So we've got one like that. This has a couple of corrections in it, nothing major. And we will fix our white balance. Not quite. Okay, that's pretty good there. Also, the verticals are way off. Don't worry about that. Alright, so right click and go edit in. I've already got the beta open, so we'll go over that. Photoshop beta. Okay, here we are. So we've only got one image, so there's no blending as such now because they're all built into the one DNG. So nice and easy. Generally, what I like to start with is getting the interior right, and then we recover the windows. So we'll do that. Go filter, camera raw filter, and what we want to do is go to curves and select this one and pull up any of the areas that are a bit dark. If it's still a little bit dark, you might just want to go back to basic and boost the overall exposure. Something like that looks pretty good to me. I generally try to have my main spike somewhere around that 3/4 mark. Generally, you've got like a quarter here, a half, and 3/4. Somewhere like that's generally pretty good for me. Okay, now what we're going to do next is the window pull. So we're going to select all of the window, and you'll see now that we've got the little plus one. We're going to select all of this window. That's a pretty good selection straight up. So that is good. Now what we want to do with this is go filter, camera raw filter. We want to give it some dehaze. And we want to drop the exposure. We want to correct the white balance because it's always going to be a little bit cool outside because of the color of the interior lighting, unless it's daylight lighting on the inside as well, which would be great. And I just want to boost the vibrance and saturation a little bit. Cool. Okay, so we've got a basic window pull. We've got the rough sort of edit of the interior done. That's great. What I'm going to do now is Control C or Command C, Command V. So now we've got those windows as a separate layer sitting there as well. That means that we can essentially edit the background layer and it's not going to affect our windows at all. Okay, so now we've got our window pulled there. Now what we will also do at some stage is do the sky replacement for the window. But for now, let's sort of fix up all of this inside area now that we've got them as separate layers. So we've got some sort of color casts that we want to get rid of. So we go on camera raw again. And a lot of this stuff can be set up as presets, but I'm just showing you how to do it manually. We want to go to color mixer, saturation, select this little tool here. And you just want to pull bits out where it looks like there's a lot of cast. And you don't need to go crazy, you just need to get close. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I would like to bring up the exposure of some of these dark shadowy bits. Once again, filter, camera raw. We've got to go to curves, make that selection, boost up the lights, drop down the highlights. You don't want to do this too much or it'll end up looking flat. There you go, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, I like where a window pull's at and I like where the overall room exposure is at. So we're going to go layer, flatten image, and then I'm going to straighten up the image now because that looks awful. So camera raw filter, scroll down, geometry. You can do anything. You can go for like the auto adjustment. That looks pretty good, but we're not going to do that. You can go to the vertical adjustment, same thing, that looks okay. Or you can go, I like to do guided, generally speaking. It's a little bit tricky in this window without a zoom, but we will make do. There we go. That's probably close enough. Okay, now while we are here, let's remove that because that looks awful. Come on, there we go. Alright, we want to remove that stuff there. Using the new AI remove tool, does a great job. Let's tidy that up a little bit. Cool. Everything else there looks pretty good. Okay, now let's do this window sky replacement. So I'll just make a copy there just so that I've got a backup. Just anything else that I might do. Grab our selection tool. You just want to select the sky. It should be pretty easy with a sky like this out the window. But if it was something like a really grey sky and you've got a lot of grey around the windows, it can be a little trickier. Use whatever selection works for you. Oh, cool, that looks pretty good. If this was a deliverable file, whoops, wrong one. If this was a deliverable file, I would make a little bit more effort on the mask, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm sure this will be fine. Okay, I'm going to go Command X, Command V, and there we go. We have just the sky by itself. We want to place it back where it's supposed to be, and then we want to drop the opacity to 50%. Why does it look the same? Because of that recovery layer I've got in the back there. Okay, so we'll leave that recovery layer turned off so that you can see how it actually looks. We'll go File, Place Embedded, and we will pick our sky of choice. Place it somewhere like that, and then we will put it down below the bottom layer. Done. We have now replaced the sky. As you can see, we can select our we can select our sky layer, move it around. You can see it moving in the window. The whole purpose of having that window at 50% is you don't lose little details, like you can see the fly screen in the window here. If it was particularly bad, you could always change it to 20% or something lower, but it ends up just removing the look of the fly screen. Anyway, so we'll leave that, we'll say like 40%. Overall, that looks pretty good. Alright, now I'll do another one and show you how quickly you can sort of knock through these. So, where's the picture? Okay, let's do this one for example. So, I'll wait until the computer says 10:10 for the time. and then I'll merge these into a HDR. Okay, it's 10 and 10, merge them into a HDR. Cool, cool. We've got this one here. We'll put our internal preset on. Cool. We'll fix our white balance. A little cold. Now this one's going to have a lot more color cast, so this will be an interesting one. And then edit in Photoshop. Cool, cool. Okay, filter, camera raw. We should actually start by bringing up our base exposure, getting that somewhere close to where we want it. Color mixer, we want to get rid of some of those blue casts down there. Get rid of some of the orange casts that are around. It's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more of that blue can go away. And while we're here, let's fix the geometry. Vertical, vertical. Cool. We've got our verticals fixed. The interior looks pretty good, and we can fix up some of these darker areas a little later. You know what? We may as well do it now. So we want to go to curves, and select that, and then select these areas that you specifically want to bring up and bring them up. And then the areas that are now too bright, you want to select them and bring them back down. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay. How's the overall exposure look for that? Because I didn't really look. Okay, it's a little bit bright. So we still want to bring it back a little bit more. There we go. I like to have that spike somewhere around the 3/4 mark. Cool. All right, window pull. Now, this probably isn't the best example because the window looks fine. I would essentially leave the fence like that. So what we're going to do is just do the sky replacement. Yep. This is going to be a tricky one, I can tell. There we go. Okay. Command C. No, Command X. Command V. Place this back over here. File. Place embedded. Let's go with Sky 7. It's a nice looking sky. Put that down the bottom. Change this layer to 50%. And it's done. It's about 3 minutes to blend a HDR image and get it looking pretty good. Not bad. If we were doing the full window pull, obviously we would have done it like before. We would have selected the whole window, but honestly, because that area is in shadow, it's fine. My selection in the trees, not great, but you could always, let's just take it back a few steps. Okay, so we've got a selection here. What we can do is go select color range, select here, then hit OK, and then grab our, what do they call this, polygonal lasso tool, and we just deselect anything that's outside of where we want to be. Oh, so we've deselected everything else. And now we can do the same thing. Command X, Command V. Move that over here. See how we've got a lot of little bits between the trees now? That's a much better blend. File, place embedded, pick a sky, chuck it over there, put it down the bottom, change this to 50%. Done. See how it looks much better. Cool, cool. Okay, now having a look at this, I think the colours are pretty good. We don't have any blue hues in the floor there. It's a nice easy room anyway, but that all looks good. If you've got any questions, let me know. But hopefully that helps you as much as it would have helped me years ago when I was looking for the same thing. But no one does a quick blend like this. Everyone does really slow hand blending with individual layers, and that's just not. It's not effective for business, really. Anyway, let me know.